Welcome everyone. It is week 11. I'm Amy. I am a nutritional therapy practitioner and I'm also a NPC bikini competitor. And oh, it is gloriously warm out here today, but in just 2 days, welcome to Denver, it is supposed to be 20 degrees cooler. So I am up here on the roof. It looks like it's about to rain, but at least for the moment it is warm. I do wish the sun was shining, but I'll take it. I'm kind of in shock. So just a couple of days ago, 2 days ago, I think. So we're going a difference of like at best 5 days. The high temperature was 102, which actually was a record-breaking high for that day. And 2 days from today, it is going to be a high of 72, and that's the high. I think the low temperature the night that or the day that it was 102 was right around 70. So it's true what they say. If you don't like the weather in Colorado, wait 10 minutes, or in this case, wait just a couple of days, and it will go from being the hottest day on record to being not like nowhere near that. 30 degrees cooler, 30. So I am enjoying some rooftop time while I can sit up here and not be bundled up in a sweatshirt, which, to be fair, if it was only a few degrees cooler, I might be wearing a sweatshirt. Those are week 11 feels. So let's talk about this week. Thank you again, everyone who's tuning in. I really appreciate you all being here for this weekly vlog. My check-in photos, I'm going to insert right here. So my check-in this week, these pictures are actually, I took them right after I finished up my posing session with Karen, which you saw in the last video, and then did a quick video to send to my coach. So I was wearing the used suit that I purchased. Feedback from coach this week actually came a little bit in on Sunday because I did an in-body scan on Sunday. And as I've talked about before, they're, probably inaccurate, but really what I'm doing it for is to see the trend. Your trend overall is going to be trending in a direction or another, and I do keep it exactly the same. I do it after my rest day. I hydrate the same. I wear the exact same thing. I get on it at the same time of day to try and make it as accurate as possible so that we can really see that trend accurately reflected. So when he saw that, he did text me back right away and ask me to increase my carbs and fats a little bit. This is the week before peak week, so we're kind of trying to do a little bit of a slower load so I don't have to try and push so much food right before show. Right, I've mentioned it many times that I don't feel great if I eat a lot on show day, and also because I do go on very last. You don't want to have just like tons of food volume in your stomach by the time you get on stage. I probably won't get on stage for my height category until probably 11. I mean, not even 11, maybe 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock for prejudging. And then for finals, depending on how big the men's categories are, I could be getting on stage close to 8 o'clock at night. So it's a long day and you don't want to have to try and push food that whole day. You really want your look to be in and then just to be kind of able to maybe load a little bit heavier a couple of days before the show so that on show day you can just maintain that fullness without having to push a lot of food. So that's my goal, and hopefully that ends up working out, but we'll see how it goes. As the days go on, I am sending check-in pictures to my coach as close to once a day as I possibly can. Next week it'll be multiple times a day. And as I mentioned before, I have the most amazingly supportive work environment, and I know that that's not possible for everybody. So I'm very appreciative of that. It makes what can be a stressful time less stressful. I do have a very busy work week next week in addition to it being peak week, so I'm trying to, as much as possible this week, kind of plan ahead, and that's why my coach and I have been really having this conversation on a more regular basis. What changes can I make now? What are we kind of anticipating? Still don't know really what to anticipate entirely until we kind of see how my body responds this week, but that conversation has at least started. So all good there with the check-in. Let's talk about some of the other things I'm doing to prepare this week for peak week. I am starting to exfoliate on a more regular basis, so I am doing a deeper exfoliation at least probably 3 to 4 times this week, and then next week I'll do it every single day. I follow the instructions of the tan company that I am getting the tan from. They actually have it on their website. I highly recommend that you do that same thing. Go to the tan company website. There will absolutely be a list of instructions and things to do to prepare for your tan, because it is slightly different from tan to tan. I've used Elite Tan a number of times, so I kind of know, but even though I feel like I know it, I still went on this season just to make sure that there have been no changes to their protocol or what they want you to do. So making sure that I am following that protocol exactly. It is very dry and not humid here in Colorado, so your skin can get really, really dry. So exfoliating appropriately and also moisturizing with the moisturizer that they want you to is going to make sure that your tan soaks in, but isn't like just sitting on top of us. You know, if you have a lot of dry skin just on your skin, or a lot of layers of dead skin, it's going to be hard for that tan to look really smooth and even. So really want to make sure I'm following all of their instructions. I actually did go on and look at the tan company for my next show, which is out of state, and their instructions are slightly different, and they also have some very specific instructions, and this is where it's really key that you know this. Many times, all through their instructions, they remind you not to wear anything red, because apparently red interacts with their tan and can turn you very green. So if you didn't know that and showed up to get your tan in a red sweatsuit, or were planning on sleeping in like red pajamas, I mean, that could be really bad. So definitely make sure that you're checking with your tan company so that your skin is prepared the best way it can possibly be. I mentioned in my outro from last week that I do just kind of start shaving everything and I need to. I would probably shave my arms tonight just to kind of start hacking away at all that hair that covers our bodies. And other than that, just making sure that I am moisturizing appropriately, doing all those things. I have my nail appointment in a couple of days, which is my final nail appointment before the show. My nail tech is out of town for a few days, and I didn't want to have to cram it in like super close to my show, just because I do have so much going on next week that taking the time out to get your nails done, I hate that feeling of like sitting there like, oh my gosh, I have so much else I should be doing right now. I need to be meal prepping. I skipped a meal, like, just the stress of it. So I like getting it out of the way the week before peak week, so that's just one less thing I have to worry about in peak week. Also today, I was able to go get a great massage. I did a really hard leg session this morning, kind of knowing that it's my last chance to really kind of push it, because I don't want to be carrying a lot of inflammation into peak week, or peak week is when we kind of try and drop inflammation. So I won't be going really heavy next week at all on anything. I'm sure my coach will pull back all my workouts and make them more of just kind of blood flowy workouts. So, get some, maybe a little bit of a pump, get some blood flow, but really nothing where you're building inflammation or causing, damage to those muscle fibers. And also just not wanting to risk injury too. So keeping everything nice and light and easy next week. So today I kind of thought like, well, this is my last chance to really push it. So I did. And I knew I had this massage today as well. Again, huge shout out to my amazing friend Lexi for gifting me this massage. It was wonderful. The therapist was very good at doing some good trigger point work. I mentioned how much I really need to work on my hips, and he really keyed into the fact that like my right hip was the one, and that's my posing side. So that hip really takes a lot. And just in general, that's our driving foot in this country, or I don't know, in all countries. Drive on the other side of the road, does your foot go on the other side of the pedal? I don't know. I'm dyslexic. I'm dyslexic with everything. I might be foot dyslexic. That would be bad. So deep thoughts, the prep brain. But either way, the massage was amazing. He spent basically the whole hour working primarily on my right glutes and a little bit on my left. I wish I had the ability to get in with him one more time, but it's just getting a little too close to the show, because that does kind of blur the lines a little bit, just because it makes your body hold a little bit of water. So last massage before the show. I do have one booked in a couple of weeks, so right in between my shows as well. I would get in with him more, but he is booked, so that's the next availability he had. So I'm really looking forward to that, and just until then, kind of trying to maintain some of this adjustment. I myself am a massage therapist. I've not been a practicing massage therapist for many years, but the skills that you have just don't ever go away. So if I say I'm impressed by somebody's ability with things, it means a lot, because I can say, I don't know that I could actually even list on one hand the amount of times that I've purchased a massage that I actually felt was great and or anywhere near the same quality that I would give. I'm not trying to be like big-headed about that, but I used to teach massage. I taught massage to for massage therapists. I taught anatomy to massage therapists, so I definitely know what I'm talking about when it comes to not only the body but also to massage. So I was really happy to have found someone who was this great and could really help work out some of these issues with my hip. As I was there, like I said, he just did a great job, not only with technique with trigger point, but also kind of the energy flow. I literally felt like it was like, I told him, I said, it was like a decade of stored energy and tension was just kind of released from this glute. I could feel just like a flush of like energy and blood flow, like coming out the tips of my toes on that right side, and like even on my fingertips. Like it was just the most amazing feeling of release. So I'm going to try hard to kind of maintain that balance in my hips that I know I desperately need. And I've had work on this hip before with, a lot of deep needling and E-stem and adjustments and all these other things. But today was really the first time I felt like somebody was really able to get in there enough to like just really let that energy, is the best way to describe it, just kind of that ball of energy just been stored in that muscle that just really needed to be let out. So it was amazing. So good. I have lots of suit drama that I'm kind of over talking about because there is no resolution when I'm recording this intro. There will be by the time I record the outro. Let's just say it's not great, but I'm dealing with it and it will be fine. So that's where we're at with that. Not a whole lot else planned for this week except just checking the pre-peak week boxes. Definitely going to do some additional food prep. I want to have all my meals or all my food prepped for peak week, hopefully this weekend, with maybe the subtle exception of some fresh veggies. Everything else I'd like to have packaged, frozen, ready to go, just so I can kind of grab whatever I need, and whatever I don't end up using just stays in the freezer. So that's my goal for this week. Hope all of you are having an amazing week. I appreciate your support so much. I am super excited. I cannot believe that my next intro video is going to be the start of peak week. So super excited to do this final week before peak week starts, and hope everyone is having an amazing week.
Oh, wow, pretty good. Can I touch your ankles?
Yes.
Okay. And then turn your wrist for me so that your hand, yep, perfect. Thumbs towards the ceiling. Yep, and then just kind of bring your hands a little closer to your body for me. Perfect. Okay. Just check in like every possible angle. Lift your head up for me. I'm just gonna tuck your hair underneath. Yeah. Okay, perfect.
I do have breast implants. I don't know if that.
I'll be able to tell anyway, but they just like they'll show up as bone essentially, and then we'll just kind of show you how they kind of. It doesn't really alter anything. Yeah. I'm gonna touch your head like that. Okay, just like at the tiniest little hair, scoot your shoulders to the right. Yep, perfect. That's great. Sorry. Okay, perfect. Looks good. Okay, you're gonna hold this for about 6 minutes and 20 seconds. Is that okay for you?
Yes, totally fine.
All right. I'm gonna go ahead and start it. As soon as it passes your head, I'll let you know. You can move your head and talk and everything, and then once it's past your arms, I'll let you know. You'll be able to move your arms and everything. By the time it's past your feet, you'll be done with the skin anyway. Yeah, perfect. Starting off great. So the three things we're looking at are fat mass, lean mass, and bone mass. So fat-wise, we'll be looking at how much you have, where it's located, and then we'll also look at visceral fat more specifically, which is fat that surrounds your organs. People who have high levels of visceral fat are more likely to be prone to like high blood pressure, heart disease, diabetes, that type of thing. Can't imagine it's going to really be all that significant for you, but we'll look at it anyway. Lean mass, we're looking at how much you have and where it's located. We're also looking at symmetry. So the scan can tell if one arm is stronger than the other or if one leg is stronger than the other. Arms is just kind of more for appearance to make sure that you can actually see a difference in the mirror. But for legs, it's also about making sure that you're as balanced as possible just to reduce your risk of like injury or pain in your lower back, hips, or joints. And then we'll look at how strong your bones are. And it just passed your shoulders, so you're good to move your head and talk and everything. Do you have any questions about it?
No, I'm just super excited.
Perfect. Yeah, so breast implants wise, they'll show up on the images as bone. However, they'll show up like numbers wise as lean tissue. So lean tissue includes muscle, bone, or not bone, sorry, muscle, blood, organs, stomach content, and your breast implants. The nice thing about those is that for the most part, everything except for your stomach content and your muscle stays the same consistent weight. So if you were to come back in a couple weeks or anything like that, except for like whatever you've like eaten or how much you've drank or anything, and the actual amount of muscle in your body. Everything else will stay a constant weight, so those changes are really just muscle for you. Of that, you have 13.6 pounds of fat and 112.2 pounds of lean tissue, okay? Your mass, obviously, it does take into consideration, like, your stomach content, right? So based on how much water you've been drinking, things like that will kind of influence that a little bit, especially because you don't have as much, like, fat pounds to you, and we're looking more at lean tissue. The contents of your stomach are going to be a little bit more, are going to influence this a little bit more. Breast implants are going to be a part of this lean tissue number here, but like I said, the weight of your breast implants don't change. So if you come in a couple weeks, the changes that you're going to see is pretty much just muscle and stomach content there. Yeah. Okay. Body fat percentage is 10.3, obviously pretty low. Manipulating this is either by losing fat pounds or increasing your lean tissue. Obviously, you don't have very many fat pounds, and you do need like some to like function as a human being, obviously. Yeah. So it would be a little bit more about increasing your muscle and your lean tissue here. Do you have any questions about this?
No.
Okay. Everything right now is a baseline, so next time you come in, these will kind of turn into graphs so you can see how everything is progressing and see like kind of what's happening where. And then this is everything that we just talked about, but per region of your body. So you can literally see where it is that you hold more fat pounds, where it is that you're holding more muscle, like specific to the region of your body.
My legs, they're the fatty part. Yep.
And then you have 0 visceral fat. Pretty much, I kind of was anticipating that anyway, but nothing really would get there. They would put you right in ideal to healthy, so nothing to really go much into there because there's not really any risk of anything, obviously. AG ratio, we look at this more so, again, kind of for like fat purposes. Mm-hmm. You do still have 4.8% fat in your abdomen or in your android region. It's just not visceral fat, it's subcutaneous. So the subcutaneous is right underneath your skin. We want this number to be lower than the gynoid region, and women do great at this because we're like naturally built to have kids. So the fat that we are going to hold is going to be in our legs and in our hips and a little bit in our lower tummy rather than in your like abdomen and android region. So this we want to be at less than 1 and you're at 0.48. So again, really great here. Cool. Okay. Bones are looking really strong, so you're the black dot up here. Average is going to be the black line in the middle of the blue. Oh. So definitely above average on this. As you get older, this kind of starts to take a dip. Yep. And especially going towards like menopause, things like that, this is one of the first things that takes a dip, as well as your muscle. So trying to keep this as high as possible for as long as possible is the goal there. That being said, though, the things I would tell you to do, you're probably already doing. Would be a lot of weight training, getting your vegetables in, and all that type of stuff. So yeah, should be good here. But nothing to really be concerned about. You can take this to your doctor. We generally like suggest it just to make sure that there's no like risk of like osteoporosis or osteopenia or anything like that. But like there's nothing to really be concerned about. So like just the next time you like go in for a physical or something, you can take it to them if you wanted. Yeah. This is kind of a visual, so white is going to be all of the bone except for the breast implants. It just shows up as bone, but it's not a part of like the bone like numbers that we have. It just kind of shows up like that on the skin. Orange is going to be all that muscle and lean tissue, and then yellow would be fat. You don't really have very much of it, maybe just a little bit on your inner legs, but really nothing to look at very heavily. So super cool.
That's so cool.
And then, so this is the difference in your arms and in your legs for how strong they are. We look at pretty much only lean mass because, I mean, it's just making sure that you're, like, balanced, essentially, especially with how little fat that you have. It's what you're going to be able to see more so, obviously. So we want this to be as close to 0 as possible. You're at 0, so that's great. Normally I can tell you if you're left or right-handed from this because most people use their dominant hand more than that. However, people who like weight train a lot or things like that are more likely to be like closer to 0. So this is great as long as it stays under a pound. That's what we're looking for there. And then this leg difference, you're 0.3 pounds stronger in your right leg. Are you right-handed?
Yes.
Yeah, so that still makes sense. Very natural to have like the very small difference there. but as long as this stays under 2 pounds, that's what we're making sure of there.
And
So
it's my posing leg and driving, everything is that right leg.
Yep, absolutely. Any questions about this? Okay. And then this will be a trending report. So this body will come side by side so that you can see the differences. Even though you don't really have any fat to be like losing, the pigment like of the orange will change, and you'll be able to see like how much orange there is still, based upon like if you're increasing your muscle or anything like that. And then this is kind of a summary of everything, so it'll come down into a list, and you can kind of compare and contrast the numbers as you come in and get another one.
Very cool. Well, as I come out of my shows, like you actually do want to put on some fat, so but you want to put it on strategically. So it'd be interesting to see that also.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and it's very like people come in for different reasons. And however often you come in is up to you. So generally, we tell people about 3 months or so. When we have people who are prepping for a show or bodybuilders or anything like that, often they want to come in like every month just to see the differences. It's literally just completely up to you. Especially if like after a show you're like putting on a little bit of fat and muscle or whatever it is. It's literally just however often you want to come in. 3 months is generally like the recommendation.
That seems logical.
Yeah.
Yes. Like I'm not that person who's like, let me see every metric. The 3 months sounds normal.
Yeah.
Welcome everyone. It is the end of week 11. And in my world, peak week has started. I am actually 6 days out from the show as I'm recording this outro. So the very next video that you see will be my peak week video, which is just crazy. And then I will have a couple of weeks in between shows and go right back into another peak week here in a few weeks. So this is peak week 1 of 2, perhaps 3. I still haven't decided for sure whether or not I'm going to do the show in October. It'll just kind of depend on how how this show and the next show goes. So obviously I am still playing around with the makeup. Did a full hair demo today and also another makeup demo, and I dislike this makeup immensely. I don't know if you can really see it. The lighting is really not good because it's storming outside. Had to end up wiping some of it off and then just patched up what was left, and it's just not the look. This color in the pan is this really pretty, like kind of sparkly magenta, but then when it goes on, it kind of just gets bronzy on me, which I'm looking for a little more pop. So play around with it a little more tomorrow. I think I'm going to go back to just the silver, and I really do feel like I'm going to just do the silver. I don't know. But anyone who has any tips, please leave those below. Like I said, it might sound crazy, I also did a hair trial today. When you have curly hair and you wear it curly, there aren't a lot of people who know how to do curly hairs if I was to try and get it professionally done. So I do my own hair, but it's a little bit challenging because you can't get wet once you have your tan on, and my tan will be put on Friday, and then I'll get the top coat Saturday at the show. So it's always a little bit of a challenge, like do I wash it the night before the show and then just try and do what's called a refresh, or do I try to tempt fate and wash it myself the day of the show and then not get any water on me? Not sure what I'm going to do, but I do feel like the level of curl that I got today is really good. And it is, as I mentioned, it's kind of storming outside, so it is a little bit humid today, but not crazy humid. And I did it this morning, so it's been like this for many hours now, and it's held up. And that's what I really wanted to see, is if I could use this combination of products to kind of keep the hold. And of course I can refresh it during the day. But I just kind of wanted to try that and also try and get some volume. My hair tends to go a little bit flat on the crown or the top, so kind of keeping some of that volume in, and nothing like a good hair flip right before going on stage just to kind of fluff it up. Also, I wear it on my left because this is the shoulder that's in front, so I don't ever want hair covering up this shoulder. And then when I turn to the back, I kind of give the flip back. So as I come back around, I sometimes remember to pull it back over the shoulder, but most of the time I don't. So just getting it in the back so that it goes off of my shoulders when I do my turn. You don't want it covering your shoulders when you're in your back pose, but I do like having that little bit to start out on the front, because this is the shoulder that's behind. So this is my front shoulder. So I think, this combination of products that I used today, I think I'm pleased with. It's what I'm going to do next week as well. It is always a struggle with curly hair, because the running joke with curly hair is if it's not behaving, or if you don't like what it's doing, the only way to fix it is to wash it. And that is sometimes really the case. It has a mind of its own, and I embrace that because it's what I have, but it's definitely not the typical bikini girl look. Very much not the norm to have naturally curly hair. Even the girls that do have naturally curly hair will a lot of times straighten it and then put those like beachy waves in. So it is definitely a very different look on stage, but I've gotten to the point where I just kind of know that, and I just go out there and I try and rock it. That's another reason why this eye look just doesn't, the coppery, it's too much. I mean, then think like I'll be really tan and like, so you can't really have like this kind of coppery eye. It wouldn't show up like this against tan skin. And then I got kind of coppery hair and I end up looking just like one color, which is not great for anybody. So that's the makeup and hair thoughts. I wish I had something to report about the suits. I don't. I ended up sending the bottoms both back to the suit manufacturer, which is Angel Competition Bikinis, and it has been, I can't sugarcoat this, it has been a nightmare. It has just been a terrible experience. If you are considering purchasing a suit and you would like me to give you more details, because I'm not about calling people out online, except to say it has been a really horrible experience. And I've tried really hard to stay positive and calm about the whole thing. And I have the ability to do that because I do have my suit from last season, which is what I will end up wearing likely on show day. But if I didn't have that, I mean, I would be in a mad panic, you know, not having a suit 6 days before my show and having no suit that fits, even though I've purchased three, count them three, 2 brand new and 1 used suit this season, none of which are, yeah, it's been a struggle. So like I said, if you're interested in hearing more about my experience, I'm happy to discuss it one-on-one. I just don't want to throw negativity out into the universe. It's just not necessary. But with all that said, I am without a suit, a new suit. So, I mean, my suit from last year is fine. There's some issues with the fit of the bottom, but you know what? They actually fit. And that's what's most important. So my plan right now is just to wear my suit from last season. It's blue, it's beautiful, and that's fine. It is a well-made suit. The issues that it has have nothing to do with the suit itself. It's more about just the fit of it on my specific body that isn't quite right, and that's nothing against the suit itself. The suit itself was made beautifully. It was made to the specifications. Everything that they did was right. I was just led down a little bit of an incorrect path with sizing, and that's really not their fault. I am tall, but I'm deceiving in that I have a short torso. They just assume, though, they see 5'11", and they're like, oh, well, she needs this rise, which in fact I don't. So if I'd gotten the correct rise in that suit, it would have been perfect, and I wouldn't have been on this search for a new suit. But here we are. So right now, those are my plans going into peak week, is to wear my suit from last season. It will be fine. Continue to play around with my makeup because it is clearly not fine like this, and find a look that I love and that's also easy and doable on show day with some touch-ups here and there. So what else happened this week? Not a whole lot. I have not been to the grocery store yet. I might go tomorrow. It's kind of just feeling like a hassle. I have, I think, enough stuff to kind of make it with just a little bit of fill-in shopping, maybe like on Monday, just to get a few things that I need for the rest of the week, but not a whole lot. So I did a good job buying a lot of stuff in the last 2 weeks to be pretty well stocked. So I'll kind of take a look at everything again tonight and see what I need to do as far as a grocery haul goes. So there was no shopping haul in this vlog because I did not go shopping. I did get my nails done on Thursday, so they are ready for show, which is great. And I actually did a Dexa scan today. I mentioned last week that I did the in-body and then was interested to kind of see where I saw at Dexa, because I know the in-body can have a pretty wide variance and is not, you know, Dexa is a little bit more accurate. So that was really cool. I'd never done a Dexa before. So it was really interesting to go through that process. So you will have seen that footage of me being at the Dexa place just today. So that was pretty cool. Plan for peak week right now is just to do a linear load, so kind of keeping my carbs the same all the way this week, and then just a slight bump in fats on Thursday and Friday to kind of hold on to the carbs a little bit, because I've mentioned before I don't really like to eat a lot on show day. I don't like having a lot of stuff in my stomach, and because I go on so late in the evening, if I was eating a large volume of food all day, waist control by 7, 8 o'clock at night would be a real struggle, and I don't want to feel gross or kind of bloated in my lower abdomen going on stage so late. So that's the plan for now. I'm sure I will make any adjustments and updates in next week's peak week video. If I'm not able to get, oh gosh, I've got a lot to film. So I've got peak week, and then we'll see. If my next video is slightly delayed coming out, I apologize. It'll just depend on when I have time to edit. And of course I'll be at the show all day Saturday. So if I can get everything turned around and edited next Sunday, after the day after the show, I absolutely will. If not, it might be Monday. So my peak week vlog may be a day late. So if it is, I apologize, but it'll be kind of fun. I'm excited to do the show, get back on stage, shake off the cobwebs a little bit. You get nervous, and even if you don't feel nervous, it's still just a little bit intimidating when you step on that stage after being off for almost a year now. My last show was early September last year. So it's been almost a year since I've been on stage. So it'll be really good to get back up there. A friend of mine who used to work out at the same gym that I work out at is competing in her very first ever competition. She's doing figure, so super excited to see her on stage. She gets to go on. She's one of the first to go on. So she'll probably be long gone by the time I get on stage, but it'll still be really fun to be backstage with her and kind of see how excited she is. She's so excited, and to see how that process goes for her. So I think that's it. I think that's all I've got. If you have any thoughts or tips about the look, let me know. If you have any questions, please put those in the comments below. I really appreciate everybody for being here and for following along. Like I said, I'm excited. I'm just excited to do Peak Week and see what we can bring to stage. See how it goes and see what improvements I need to make in just a couple of weeks for the show up in Wyoming. So spread positivity and light to everyone around you, but most importantly to yourself. And I will see you guys next week for Peak Week.